I mean, for advantage, you would just roll the d8 twice, right, and take the better result. I mean, take the better indexed result that you're looking into. So you're still taking the best of the players' results.
You could do that. You could roll, and pick one of those two. That works too.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have the advantage on the d20s. I feel like that's a bigger bump. Like that's basically +5, right?
The idea being that the player still rolls all of their d20s, and then you pick 2 results and pick the better one.
It's basically the same thing. Yeah.
It's still basically the same thing.
Yeah. Am I shaking?
Quivering with anticipation.
No.
Patient.
I've given up.
You can only do that if you're in the full costume.
Yeah, I've made the holes in the overlay big enough that you guys could move around freely.
Okay, I'm gonna Muppet walk in.
You're actively
It's a fantastic thing. I mean, it's a perfect rendition of it, even with the audience. Mike's side.
Okay.
Spider monkey attack. Is that coming to you from the land of Vegemite? Is that one of yours, Mike?
Kill animals.
I don't personally know Spider Monkey Attack,
okay.
but welcome and greetings.
Okay.
Unless I do, and I just don't know this name.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a big country, but there's almost no one in it. So chances are good we've met somewhere.
Very vacant.
It's all bunched at the ends, right? With the 2 sides.
Yeah.
You guys want to get right down to it?
If you want. I was gonna wait till Cowart showed up. I wanted to show him something.
That is actually when we should start. Whenever he logs in.
We will.
Oh, there's Shelly. We will have to at least give him a cutoff, like,
tomorrow.
30 minutes tops.
Well, I'll show him again whenever he comes on, but so we can go ahead and
just
get started.
Interrupt the stream.
Yeah, just interrupt the stream. It's like, hold on. Oh,
I did bring up the right map this time, didn't I? Yeah.
Spider Monkey says he's your second cousin's wife's brother's ex-roommate. So
what does that make us?
I think that makes you step neighbor-in-laws.
Yes, thank you.
All right, but anyway, this is.
I really hope that was a Spaceballs reference.
This is the thing that I got as a gift for Christmas.
I got ducks for you.
It's handmade. Nice. I don't know if this is choppy or throwy. I think this is choppy.
Is that a boar on the handle?
Yeah, it's the person who made it. Their name of their business is Boar Heart Forge, and I think they're local here in Knoxville.
What's the metal? What's the blade made of?
Metal.
Oh, good. That's better than butter or cheese.
Yeah,
fiberglass. It's the middle layer of a tree.
I did throw it a couple of times at the target, and it is difficult because the handle is very long and it rotates very slowly.
Been meaning to go to the axe throwing place here in Knoxville. Test out my I don't know if that'd be Viking or Indian skills, but axe throwing skills.
You know Jamie has a target in his backyard, right?
I did not know
that. Yeah. Wes and Casey surprised me, and as a gift, it's a full-sized 2-spec World Axe Throwing League target. It's massive, and it is heavy, and it's awesome.
I guess I'll just have to bring the keg then.
It is now very marked.
Yes, it is. It is very marked.
Let's say, how long does it remain in spec? Like, how much of it can you shave off until it's no longer in spec?
Well, that thing has a very wide surface to
Uh-huh.
That's almost a blunt instrument.
Yeah, it's pretty wide. My the axe
Yeah.
that I typically throw is a very thin bladed axe, and so it nice little slices. But that thing was taking chunks out of those 2x6s.
I remember throwing ninja stars out in the backyard when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
They were dull as dull can be, but they would stick in the back porch or a tree every once in a while.
Your foot.
Yeah. Luckily, no. That was just ice picks.
Yeah, he's fixing the foot. Yes.
Yep.
There's a story there. I'm thinking.
I can't remember who was it. Me that got stabbed with an ice pick?
No, it was our cousin.
Was it okay? Yeah, we were throwing ice picks at like political signs that were stuck in the yard. Just nothing political about it. We were 8. What did we know? But we were throwing an ice pick, trying to hit the face, and hit him in the foot, or like right in the joint, the upper joint of the ankle, like where it meets the foot meets the shin, right there, like on top.
Everything bad happened to him for some reason.
Well,
That's good.
I will never forget playing the original Baldur's Gate
Mm-hmm.
when the opening scene where the bad guy, I forget, I don't remember the scene very well. It's been 800 years ago, but
They're on top of a parapet of a castle, and this
Yeah.
dude bursts out of the door and like crawls out.
and
And of course he looks at that. He's never played the game in his life, and he looks at us and he goes, "Too much chili."
and he just started
And then-
narrating from then on.
And then the bad guy comes to the door behind him. He goes, "Who
You
ate my
took
chili?"
my chili.
It was so freaking funny.
It was perfect.
That's good.
I don't think he's ever played a game like that in his life.
No.
Then or
Nope.
since then or before then.
Nope.
Well, Cowart is running late, so we're gonna have to get started.
Yep.
Unless he's here and being very quiet. So last time when we finished, you guys had met Shinsen. Oh my God, already forgotten her name. Kind of explained to you some of the things that happened, being attacked by Tongue Eater and the hillbilly rednecks around the area and the rogues. And she did mention at one point that they had talked about being alley bashers.
Yeah.
But she, after you rescued her, got out of the basement, she wanted to just immediately go crash, which she did. She took off to her room, said she was just going to sleep till morning. So she is going to start an 8-hour rest. So this is your chance. Now that the speed of everything has slowed down, is there anything you'd like to do before the night begins?
Well, I think we had a little bit of searching to do, and then I would like to cast Detect Magic just to look over some of the stuff that we've gotten.
Okay.
Before we take our long rest.
All right. So cast Detect Magic takes 10 minutes. Either you two want to do anything in the meantime?
Tarathiel's going to dig around on the floor through some of the rubble. I have in mind that he wants to grab a piece of stonework with one of the monkeys on it, because there's all the stonework with the monkeys being lucky.
Like a little bitty monkey, kind of like a souvenir style monkey, or just a piece of a big monkey?
No, like a whole monkey, preferably, just a little one.
Okay. There are actually souvenirs, little monkeys in various different awkward places and situations. So looking around, you find some of those, or one of those, however many you want.
I want something unique.
Okay. Like what? I mean, give me an idea what you're looking for. 'Cause
I'm just. I mean, there's a fireball that went off in here, right? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that something has been knocked free. Just a hunk of unique looking rock with a monkey on it.
So a monkey head was knocked off of one of the statues, one of the full-size statues.
That'll do.
That work? Okay. You have
how big is it? Hang on. Full
about
size,
a
like a
bowling ball,
whole head.
like a head size, like it's a big.
I want something much smaller. Something that'll fit in the palm of your hand.
You can break off a finger.
I'll do that.
So you have the finger of a statue of a monkey
In the palm of your hand.
in the palm of your hand. Bears on.
Cool.
He will have a little bit of the food and then go crash because he had the crap beat out of him
Yes,
Oh, dude.
yes, you did.
again.
You were the
You did
very
that
efficient
well.
wheat shield. Yeah.
He's gonna lay down, close his eyes, and feel the throbbing in his head start to go away. So
So you conk out. Khaldun, your detect magic is done.
Okay.
So what are you looking at? Like, I know you're casting it and you have just a general idea. There is magic. There was some magic items on Tongue Eater. The Alley-Bashers, which were the rogue type, and then the thugs, they all have small glowing bits, ends up being a potions of healing, each one of them, 2d4 plus 2. So you find 4 more of those on the individual bad guys.
Coward's here.
There he is. The bag that was on the back of Tongue Eater, that one is glowing as well. I think you guys have already identified all the potions, right? The other potions that he had.
I think so.
In
He
that
had
bag?
Jump, Blur, Magic Fang, and Enlarge.
That is correct. Otherwise, not much else is glowing. No more
Okay,
magic,
so the bag of holding and a bunch of potions.
basically. And if you want to, before you take a long rest, you can do not the attunement, but like the discovery of what the item is. It's not a bag of holding. It's a Heward's handy haversack,
Oh,
which is
okay.
6.5 dozen. The other kind
Still
of,
pretty handy.
but yeah,
A little different.
haversacky.
It's one of my wife's favorite magic items.
I like them in Pathfinder quite a bit. They're like the 2 large pouches and little pouch.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that is. I'll have to read up on it.
I think that was the one that you basically can reach in and think of what you want to get out of it, right?
Yeah, that's one of the best things about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Oh boy, that's a lot of writing. I'm not going to read all that. So yeah, you can take a look at that later.
Wall
Uh,
of text.
It really
There's not
is.
much time. I will sum up.
Very similar to a bag of holding or a portable hole. It always weighs 5 pounds. All right, I'll read the first paragraph. Backpack has a central pouch and 2 side pouches, each which is an extra-dimensional space. Each side pouch can hold up to 20 pounds of material, not exceeding a volume of 2 cubic feet. The large central pouch can hold up to 8 cubic feet or 80 pounds of material. The bag weighs 5 pounds regardless of its contents. Normal rules. Retrieving an item from the haversack requires you to use an action. When you reach into the haversack for a specific item, the item always magically on top. So there's that. So you don't have to go searching, digging through 80 pounds of stuff. Otherwise, basically a bag of holding that weighs 5 pounds.
Doesn't hold quite as much as a bag of holding.
No, it doesn't.
But it's handy.
It's handy. Definitely handy.
Okay.
That's how he was able to pull the exact potion he needed every round when he was running through that hallway, getting just murdered by you guys. So you guys
Could've done less
finish.
drinking and more murder.
You guys hold down for the night. Hold it for the night. Are you gonna?
I got one more question real quick.
Yep, go for it.
Her piano, is it in her bedroom or is it
It
is it in the room next to there? Because it looks like there's a piano in that room next to her.
The piano is supposed to be in her. It is in her room. It's smashed. The room next to hers is actually a shrine to Farlan.
Oh, well, that would explain the shrine-looking thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Very shriny.
I'm gonna leave her alone. I was gonna use mending on the piano.
Okay.
but I'm not going to do that while she's sleeping.
All right. And big piano mending, it would take you probably at least an hour, just continuous mending to fix it.
Yeah,
But
well, I can do
yeah,
that tomorrow before we leave.
Yeah. All right. Bed down for the night.
I will unpocket Pazel and have her keep watch for us.
Okay. All right.
That's exactly the noise too.
Yep.
So you all fall asleep, but you fall into a fitful sleep.
Mm-mm.
Each one of you have your own unique dream. But in the morning, you realize that each of you had these dreams and you shared knowledge of all these dreams. Khaldun, your dream was being shackled, tongue missing, standing before the queen, being turned into a zombie. And in your mind, screaming the whole time to be free of this, to be released from this eternity of servitude to the queen.
You mean Vlaakith, the queen?
Yes.
Okay.
The
Lich Queen.
The Lich Queen.
Yeah. Okay.
Tarathiel, you dream of a familiar young woman who you recognize as your daughter. She's in a cage, screaming to be released as she's being lowered into a vat of boiling blood.
Ah,
And as you look down, you realize it's your hand that's lowering her, turning the winch. And Farazan,
oh boy.
you're back on the mountaintop. Your entire tribe is being held up by their shackled, held up by their wrists, and you're fighting to get to them. They're screaming to be released. And every attack you make lands like a feather. You cannot draw any strength, and you're completely helpless. In the morning, you three wake up, realizing that each of you have had these dreams and you understand what the other went through. I need charisma checks from all three of you. Charisma saving throws.
Oh no.
Tarathiel, you do this at disadvantage.
Ooh.
I got a 0.
0. All right.
And I got a 2.
2.
Oh,
All right.
No. 18.
18. Okay. So Farazan, you're fine. You wake up. You vividly remember the dream as if you were a part of it. It does not fade when you wake up like a normal dream does. And you look over and you see Khaldun has basically gone catatonic. He's got the 1,000-yard stare. He's staring straight ahead, not speaking. He looks like he's terrified. And you look over to Tarathiel, and he is sitting at the table, babbling, just incoherently. You do?
Farazan will hop up out of the, well, he doesn't really hop, but he will sit up out of his bed and reach over and start to shake Khaldun.
You shake him, and there's vacancy behind his eyes. There's nothing there. He doesn't fall over limp. He's keeps himself straight up. You push him over and he sits back up, but it's just a dead stare.
Okay. Water skin.
Splash him.
Yeah.
Geyser.
You're gonna say Geyser.
Geyser. He dies.
Yeah.
Now that does actually knock him down because that's like a trip attack. So you Geyser Khaldun.
Just
You really
splash
can't.
him with water. Just splash
Yeah,
him.
you splash some water in his face. Doesn't have any effect.
Okay. Assume the same for Tarathiel.
Babbling, just insane. Doesn't make any sense. Not even words that you understand. Just incoherent bargaining.
Bara med som dollar sitter med consecutive.
Exactly like that.
All right.
Uh-huh.
So Farazan grabs his staff and then runs down the.
What?
Did it easy or did this hard?
Yeah, it's
This is automatic crit.
it's-
They are helpless.
yeah, it's a cognitive recalibration. No.
Yeah.
He will run down the hallway and knock on the door of I didn't write her name down.
Shinsen.
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 Yeah.
Spelled with an X?
Shensen.
Okay. Completely wrong.
Shinsen.
Okay. Yeah, he'll kind of boom, boom, boom on the door. Shinsen, I need your help.
You don't get a normal response. You hear similar babbling coming from in her room as well.
Kick the door down.
Okay, no problem. She is sitting on the side of her bed. Looks like she's got the dull vacancy of Khaldun, but she's babbling like Tarathiel is still.
Crap. All right, so he will so assuming she's in her room and the other two are in the bedroom that we came in, or one or the other, or in the kitchen.
Didn't really specify where you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
You guys did a lot of detecting and searching in the kitchen. I just kind of assumed you were in the kitchen.
Okay. Go back to the kitchen and I don't know. Who's
You start to hear-
smaller between Tarathiel and Khaldun?
I think Tarathiel is
Tarathiel.
smaller.
Right. Yeah. He will grab him, in the two arms, one behind the back, one behind the leg, and shoulder through the back door.
The back door, that's it's barricaded.
Oh, we left it barricaded. Dang it.
As far as I know, I don't remember you guys unbarricading it.
I think so. I think it's still barricaded.
Yeah. Okay.
But when you turn to look at the back door and you hear Tarathiel babbling, you suddenly feel very appreciative that it's still barricaded because you hear the sounds of those two large lizards scratching at the door towards the sound.
I was just envisaging Farazan just muscling Tarathiel out towards the chickens, just being like, wake up, wake up, or I will feed you to these things.
Okay.
Short arms and all.
Short arms and all. Okay. He's going to put Tarathiel back down and then give him a light kind of
Slap
like on the shoulder at first, and just kind of tap 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 on the face.
About this time, both Tarathiel and Khaldun seem to shake themselves out of it. It's been about 5 or 6 minutes. You running back and forth, but now, Tarathiel, you were in your mind screaming, trying to save your daughter, and Khaldun, you were just being controlled. You were had no control of your body as a zombie and couldn't speak. So that's what you were doing. That's how you were feeling during that time. But now you are completely clear-headed. And you hear Shinsen coming down the hall, and she's awake and lucid, but she is looking at you with kind of this disturbed look on her face, asking about the dreams that you guys had, because she seems to have be aware of the dreams that you had, but you don't have any idea of hers or if she had one herself. And as quickly as you come out of it, the dreams start to fade from your mind.
What was that?
Okay. I look at everybody. I'm like, did you all just have an episode? Because I had a terrible episode. I was a zombie wandering the Queen's palace. And I was really a zombie wandering the Queen's palace. I thought I was going to be there for years.
And they cut your tongue out so that you couldn't speak what you want to tell everyone before you return to a zombie.
And there was something I desperately wanted to tell everyone, and I couldn't. I have no idea what it was. I look at Farazan. Were you a zombie?
No, I was back with my family, back with the tribe on the mountaintop. and I, sorry, Matt, I'm trying to get something to work here. Were they under? They were shackled, but were there anybody else there?
You were fighting some of the demons that were in your vignette,
Mhm.
with the little red demons like that. But every time you'd swing, you were swinging with all your might, but it would just barely. It wasn't like they were immune to it. It's just you had no force, you had no strength. You're swinging with everything that you think you had, but it's just barely tapping them.
Okay.
And you can't get through them, and everybody's hung up by their wrists in the trees.
Right. So he says there were some sort of beings attacking my family and had them in chains and shackles, and no matter what I did, none of my strikes had any strength behind them. It's almost if it had been drained away. But when I woke up, the three of you seemed to be affected by it, but I was not. You were staring off into the distance, non-responsive. Even with shaking and applying water to you, you did not move. The three of you were...
So this is water.
Yes.
Thank goodness.
The only liquid I had was piss.
Maybe you've got more strength than a nightmare. Fezan.
I don't know, but when I was inside of it, I did not. I had none.
Do I have any idea what could have caused this kind of effect?
You could do a knowledge arcana, or knowledge arcana.
Arcana, okay. 24.
24.
It's very knowledgeable.
So you don't know specifics, like what specifically caused this, but you know that in order for something to cause 4 different people to have nightmares and share them somewhat is a very, very powerful presence.
Presence. Like
Presence.
haunting.
Possibly. You don't feel like this place is haunted. You think it's bigger than that. You think it's bigger than haunting this place. Just an otherworldly presence caused you all to have nightmares.
It's time to go.
Okay.
But like the 24 is a very, very good roll, but you just don't have enough information to know what would cause it. Specifically what would have caused that. But you feel like it would be on a godlike level of power.
Okay. Well, we got somebody's attention, folks. I think somebody nasty and infernal stared at us last night, and it did not have a good effect. I look at Shinsen. It's like, do you have any clue what might have caused this? I mean, could it possibly be one of the Ebon Triad?
Possibly. None of them are really of the 3 gods, Hexter, Aerith Newell, and Vecna. They're not really gods of madness, though. I guess Hexter might be considered.
Maybe
Hexter might be considered one of madness. It's possible. I had a horrible dream as well. I don't know. It's possible. Glad I could help.
Thanks. So would I know enough to know whether or not it's location? Like, is it tied to this area, or is it just sort of one of those really scary events?
A scary event. Probably not tied. Probably not tied to the Lucky Monkey. You don't.
Okay. All right.
You think it was probably a region-wide thing, like everybody just had a nightmare last night in the jungle in Cauldron. like massive area.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's really good. I'm gonna go fix a piano. I got to do something with my hands.
Oh, oh my goodness! Thank you so much. Do you need a hand?
Well, actually, yeah, I don't know really what a piano is. I have an idea of how it might fit back together. So if you could kind of help me out, it might look right once I'm done.
Okay, and she will join you. And like I said, it'll take you about an hour to completely fix this thing 100%.
Okay.
Farazan and Tarathiel, anything you'd like to do for the next hour?
Breakfast.
Tarathiel is still kind of in shock, I think, and he just sits at the table, just staring off into space, and he's clutching at something that he wears around his neck, just with his good hand.
So as Farazan
Just sitting. He'll eat if Farazan gives him food, I guess, but he'll kind of peck at it.
Yeah, I was gonna say he'll put together, something simple, and then when he sees that Tarathiel is just kind of sitting there, not interacting with, with anything, he sets a small bowl in front of him and sits down and says, "What happened in your nightmare, my friend?"
I mean, you were helpless. I wasn't. I was hurting someone that I love. Killing them, maybe. In an awful, awful way.
As these things were put into our mind by some being of great power to obviously affect us. It was not something from my past, so I would assume it would not be something from yours. Maybe it is something manifesting of our fears. I have leaned upon my strength in our endeavors and in my life, and not having it taken away was something that I do not want to think about.
I've come to rely on your strength as well, Farazan, and I've never seen it falter.
Farazan will clap Tarathiel, on the shoulder, and it says that, well, whoever we were in these dreams is not who we are in reality, so try not to dwell on it too long, my friend. And here, eat before it gets cold. And he'll kind of busy himself, tending to, checking some of the weapons and checking with some of the supplies that he has, but he'll keep in the same room, just keep an eye on
that
Tarathiel.
Awkward silence as you're trying to look like you're really busy, but not want to look at somebody.
Well, he's available more than anything else.
If nothing else, go ahead.
I think Tarathiel just appreciates that, just having that presence without needing to do anything.
Every so often he'll go down the hallway, pull one of the bodies out next to one of the windows and chuck it out to the to the rappers.
Time to feed the chickens.
Now he's feeding them.
Suey, pig.
So when the battling stopped, they seem to have not necessarily lost interest altogether. You can see them or hear them walking around, but you think right now it's more of a smell issue. They can smell, the dead bodies from last night and just the blood and carnage that's left behind. But they're no longer scratching, trying to get through the doorway to get to the noise that was in the kitchen. That's your best estimate.
Well, that's good.
Speaking of noise, every once in a while you hear a ting, 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 bang, bang. And then you hear Khaldun turns to Shensen and he's like, "This is a fascinating instrument. You realize that this is a logarithmic expansion of 12 semitones. I can write a formula and show you exactly how this works." She's like, "Okay."
That wire is supposed to be straight.
Yes, working on straight. Okay.
So you two busy yourselves fixing the piano. Tarathiel, you finish eating, and Jamie, you're policing dead bodies, and feeding the local wildlife. An hour passes. The piano is fixed. Shinsen is very appreciative. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I don't know if you have other things that you want to do here, but I need to get back to Cauldron ASAP.
Yeah, okay, so will the big lizards eat us?
No, if you don't get too close, they're probably pretty well fed at this point. Just don't bother them. Don't get too close to them, and you should be okay. I just hope that the stable doors are shut where your horses are.
They were,
They were.
he says with a smile.
Question mark.
Yeah,
They
question
were.
mark.
We might need to find you a horse as well.
I can double up with somebody. You and I are about the same size. She's looking at Tarathiel. If you don't mind, I'll just ride on the back with you.
It's fine with me.
Who wants to wear this handy haversack?
Shinsen holds her hand up. Give it to the NPC.
I think Tarathiel currently has the efficient quiver, so we should either swap that around or do something.
The quiver, is that the one that holds? Is that basically a quiver of Alhana?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so bows, arrows, and javelins.
Javelins.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right.
Like
Throwing axes.
a bushel of
I
javelins.
was gonna say, but not great axes, great swords, and spears. So
Spears, yeah. It holds spear. It holds like dozens of javelins and spears and hundreds of arrows. Like it holds a lot of long, straight items.
yeah.
Wands, staves, rods.
I mean, would the haversack
Short
hold
trees.
weapons? Could you?
No,
You can't put.
not like a quiver Alona.
Okay. Well,
I mean, yes. Okay, so yes, the haversack, yes, could hold weapons, especially those little side pockets. I suppose you could put your hand axes in those side pockets.
Yeah, that would work.
well,
Those would fit.
it's-
Yeah.
He right now he still he still has a great sword, a great axe, and a spear alongside his long staff. So I kind of see him like a pack mule and just 17
Sticks sticking out everywhere.
Yeah, hilts and handles coming out of his back.
So there is one thing to consider when it comes to the handy haversack
Mm-hmm.
is it takes an action to withdraw one item.
Oh.
So if you're thinking about using it to carry weapons, it might not be a great idea to lose that action just to draw the weapon. Whereas if it's not in the handy haversack, drawing a weapon is a free action to start combat.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So Farazan will say, I have no use for either of those two things.
Now the
Okay.
quiver, I'm not sure how the quiver works. That might be different for the quiver. Drawing, because you can shoot the arrows from the quiver. It may be the same with the staff and the javelins, but I have to look at that.
You can draw any item from the quiver contains as if doing so from a regular quiver or scabbard. So
Okay. So that would be basically a free action to.
Okay.
If you have multiple actions, you could throw several javelins, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've only got the one spear, so if so he'll say to Khaldun, he says, if you have no use for the quiver, then I could make use of it.
Nope, not really. I mean, I don't have any wands, staves, rods, nothing like that. And the looks like you do.
I think so. Does that require attunement? Quiver?
I don't think,
Somebody have a
I don't
problem?
think it. I don't think it does.
Nope.
I don't think it does. No.
Okay. Okay.
Nope.
Then Farazan will sling it over his shoulder and put a
Wait, hang on. And Tarathiel will retrieve the necklace of fireballs from out of it.
Yeah, he shakes it out. Oh crap!
Did
It's got a necklace of fireballs, arrows, a crowbar, a longbow, a short bow, and a rapier in it at the moment.
You're making good use of it.
I was. What's this other item? Do you want? Should I take that, or does
Handy
Khaldun want it?
haversack. No, you can wear it. I don't have anything to store in it.
can someone else retrieve things? Like if Farazan's wearing the quiver, I guess a quiver would be what, at your hip or on your back? I guess it doesn't matter.
Either. Could do either.
Either.
Yeah, he'll just put it on his back. But I guess if Tarathiel walked up and like pulled out the longbow, would that still be a same action, or is it just the wearer?
Unless it specifically says the wearer, because it's not attuned, I'd say anybody that knows what's in there, like especially the haversack, you'd have to know what you're looking for in order for the item to be on top. But unless it otherwise says, the wearer only, you could potentially grab something if somebody else is wearing the haversack. Like if you want to grab a potion out of the haversack that Tarathiel's wearing, unless it says very specific, only the wearer, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to do it.
Okay.
It would still be an action for the haversack.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't see any reason why not.
Okay. And would you consider in the pouch with 6 long objects, would you consider the great axe and great sword?
Say your great staff.
Yeah, your staff for sure. I don't think that the great sword and the great axe would really fall under that category.
Okay. That's fair.
But all your other pointy objects definitely would.
Yeah. He does keep the hand axes at his sides. He throwy and choppy are at hand. So,
all
but
right.
the spears and the staff he'll put away.
Okay.
Right. I've removed the efficient quiver from my inventory. So
Cool.
You're no longer efficient.
No, I have inefficient quivering. I guess I don't know.
Nope.
So the rain is still coming down hard as ever. You guys have divvied the loot, and Shinsen is just like on pins and needles to get out of here.
All right, let's go.
So if we go out the side door down here where I'm pinging, hopefully that'll be safer.
To the east? Yeah. And that's actually the door that is, it's labeled the stable door for the traveler's door.
Entrance, yeah.
Yeah. So you go out that door, which was never blockaded. It was never, it's locked, but from the inside. So it's no problem unlocking it. And head over to the stables. Nothing's over there. Nobody's over there. And you don't see the velociraptors anywhere close.
Okay, then go open the stable doors. Hopefully our horses are still there.
They are.
Nice.
All 3 of them are there. Nobody's messed with them.
Hooray.
That could be bad. Any of those fleeing douchebags could have stolen horses,
That's true.
but they didn't.
So you hop
Very
on
nice.
horses and head back to Cauldron.
Yes.
Yes. Best possible speed.
So it's still even going. I know it's uphill, but it's basically 8 hours to get back. Same time that it took you to get down here. So it's basically evening, mid-afternoon when you get back to Cauldron. and you get to the gates, and the guards that are there at the I guess you come at the western gate. The guys that are there, they stop you at the gate and ask you what your business is, and they recognize you. They both of them, all two of them, they recognize the three of you, the heroes of Cauldron, the saviors, and they have this apologetic look on their face, but they say that they have to tax you for entrance into the town. A silver
The same
apiece.
tax as it was. Same tax as it was before.
No, it's actually increased. When you first came, it was 2 copper, 3 copper. Now it's a silver apiece.
Dang inflation.
What is the? May I ask what the reason for the increase in cost is? What services does the city provide that it didn't before?
I don't know. They tell us how much to collect, and we just listen and collect the money. I'm
Perhaps we get a
really
bigger
sorry.
recycling bin or something.
Mhm.
All right.
All right, I give him silver. I'll pay for Shinsen.
Okay, she's looking around. She's like, I don't have any money. You guys mind helping a girl out? Okay, give them 4 silver, and they do. They both look very almost ashamed, very apologetic that they're having to charge to come back into town. You see that they have recognition on their eyes of realizing who the three of you are, and they open the gates and please enjoy your return to Cauldron, and they close the gates behind you.
I need to retcon one thing.
Okay.
Sorry. We brought Sarkham's body with us.
You'd already mentioned you were going to. I took
Okay.
that for granted. Okay, yeah,
Right.
no problem.
And like I just because it's on the bottom of the coin sheet there. 2 silver pieces is a poor lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that's like a week of living for someone.
Yes, half of yeah.
Jeez.
And you take into consideration this is a trading town. There's there are caravans in and out of this place constantly. So yeah, the cost of business is going up. Prices are going up everywhere. Yeah. And I flipped this back over to that's up. As soon as you get into Cauldron, the gates close behind you. Shinsen jumps off the horse. I've got to go talk to the guys. Is there somewhere I can find you later tonight?
Are you familiar
be
with the
at
Drunken Warcock?
I am, yeah.
Probably there.
Okay. I'll meet you after dark. I just have a few things to take care of.
I guess are we going to see Junior?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Head around on the horses, back around to see Jinya. Stable the horses, go inside. So I think I remember you saying that you wrapped the body.
Yeah, and the head.
Yeah. So you go to the temple. You walk inside. The first person you see is Rufus, who's the lower acolyte that you first met when you came to town. And he sees you and sees that you're obviously carrying a body over your shoulder, and he has this not fearful, sorrowful. He looks sad. He realizes what's going on, and he just nods and he heads back into Jinya's chambers, and she comes out quickly, hurriedly, like half running. But as soon as she sees you and sees that you've got Sarkham over your shoulder, she just deflates. Her shoulders sag, her head sags, and she just looks kind of questioningly for verification of what her fear is.
Yes, this is how we found him.
So sorry, Junior. We tried.
Well, I thank you. Gosh, this have happened. She has this moment of like uncertainty. You see it. You see just a flood of emotions go over her face. First, it's the fear, then the sadness, then this uncertainty, and then after literally 30 seconds, standing there watching her go through all this, she finally just straightens herself up, brings her shoulders back, looks at Rufus, and states, "I'm now the high priest of St. Cuthbert's Church of Cauldron." I'm now the high priest of Rufus. Go wake up everyone. Gentlemen, please, if you would bring Sark, and her voice cracks a little bit, bring Sarkum's body into my chambers. Did you happen to have his mace? Did you bring his mace with him? He had equipment on him. Nobody really mentioned like searching or looking over his body. But I think I did mention it. It was had the leather strap that was around his wrist.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
It's probably still on him because we just kind of rolled him up.
Yeah, I think we would have bought his possessions, but I think we wouldn't
Yeah.
have mentioned it because we never thought about looting his body.
No,
Right.
we
Yeah,
didn't
of
loot
course.
him.
Of course.
Farazan puts the coin purse back into the.
Yeah, like,
slips,
for
Nobody
yourself.
thought about anything. Is this a bad thing?
slips it back into the blanket.
And you lay the body down and the head separately over to the side and unwrap the body. And she casts a spell quickly, and she just mentions, "I'm going to preserve his body until we can take care of it later." She grabs the mace, and as she does, it begins to glow slightly, like the head of the mace glows slightly. This is the symbol of our church. This is the Star of Justice. Thank you for finding this. Thank you for bringing this back. I know there was nothing you could have done, or else I believe you would have done it. So thank you again. Can you tell me what happened?
Well, there was a band of mercenaries, bandits, not quite sure what they were,
Was it
called the Alley Bashers. Yeah. That had essentially sacked the place and killed everyone. We found him holed up in the cellar with another person, Shinsen. She came with us, although she's not here right now.
Shinsen. Oh, she's okay.
Familiar with Shinsen?
I've met her before several times. She's
Okay.
she's I guess priestess. She follows Farlan.
Yep.
She maintains the shrine at the Lucky Monkey. Okay, I'm glad she's I'm glad she's safe.
Yep. So she's the only survivor. And she told us a couple things. Most important was that apparently some document that Sarkum had, the leader of the Alley Bashers, his name was Tongue Eater, by the way, gave it to this female warrior, and she left. All we know is a vague description of her, a redheaded female warrior.
Tall, wearing armor.
So, and she's looking.
She could have been a priest, I think.
As you're talking, she looks like she's cleaning up his body, preparing him, and she looks through his items, and she pulls off a diadem, sets it to the side, and pulls a couple of other items, sets them to the side. Did you find the schematics for the wands?
I think that was the document that it gave to the warrior.
Oh goodness.
What were they for?
The wands. In times past, 50 years ago, all the churches would come together and create these wands of water control, and that's how we would keep the Crater Lake from flooding and destroying the basically the inner ring of Cauldron. Sarcom left months ago to go track it down because now this is Matt thinking. I think you guys knew this, right? I've told you this before that Sarcom left a couple of months ago because we couldn't find these schematics. We hadn't used them in 50 years. There's no telling where they were. So he used the star to find a good location to find the schematics. And that's what he was doing, is bringing those back so that we could create the items to save the flooding.
Would anyone else have known where he was?
I mean, it wasn't a huge secret that he had left to go to Sasserine. He didn't really tell anybody the specifics why he went, because he didn't want to cause any fear. That we didn't have the ability to make these wands. But in all honesty, nobody would have even believed it. Fake news and all things like that. They would have not believed that there was a way to take care of the flooding. But that's why he was gone. And now they've stolen the schematics. That just doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, just one more thing.
Oh.
And Therethia will pull out the black triangle of wood, the holy symbol for the Ebon Triad.
And she takes a half step back, eyes getting wide, and she does the gesture to like protecting yourself, like kind of like genuflecting, And she looks at the symbol. Where did you get that?
This tongue eater was carrying it.
Those are the symbols. Those are 3 evil god symbols. I don't understand the triangle, but that's Hexter, Erenthul, and Vecna.
So Shinsen was explaining to us, I think it was Shinsen, wasn't it? That there's a small cult following these 3 evil gods sort of as one. And their hope that the 3 would become one and essentially take over everything in a nice, terrible way.
So maybe this was religiously motivated?
It seems that way now.
Speaking of religious motivation, are you aware of anyone in Cauldron that had like horrific nightmares last night?
And she looks at you kind of shocked. Yeah, I had a terrible nightmare last night.
I think we all did. And as far as I can tell, it was a divine smite. It was inspired from the plains.
Huh. I hadn't thought about that. I just thought nobody else had mentioned anything. And Rufus has been coming in and out, bringing in incense and actively preparing Sarcom's body for ritual. And he comes back in and she looks at him. Rufus, did you have a bad dream last night? And he looks, he says, God, yeah, it was terrible. I was being beaten up by those thugs again. You guys were there. Thank you for saving. But you guys couldn't save me this time. They were taking me away. And I kept screaming for help to be released and let go. How did you know? And well, it sounds like we all had nightmares last night, and now it's really creepy because it was apparently divine smite. Is that what you said? Divine smite to our brains?
Yes. It certainly felt like a smite to me. I mean, it was years in my mind. It was terrible.
Just go check with the other acolytes. Make sure everybody's okay. See if they all had dreams. I can take care of Sarcom. He bows. Yes, High Priest. And she almost says something, and she nods. Thank you. This woman, red hair, armor, said she was tall.
That's the description we have.
It may be relative.
Yeah, I guess a child would think anybody would be tall.
Well, it was Shinsen that told us, so relative to Shinsen.
Oh.
I forgot who the source was.
Where is Shinsen?
She's somewhere in the city.
She came back with you. Okay.
Yeah.
If you see her, would you ask politely for her to come see me? I'd like to talk to her, see if she knows anything more about this person. And she kind of stands up. She stands up from the body, walks over to her desk. You have done again more than you were expected. Thank you for bringing his Sarkum's body back to us. We will hold a burial ritual 2 days from now. But for right now, and she pulls out like this big bag, sets it down with the thanks of the Church of St. Cuthbert of Cauldron, and she slides it over, saying that I'm paying you to do this cheapens it, but I do feel as though you do deserve something for your time and your effort. So, again, with our thanks, this is yours. She slides the bag over. It sounds like gold. It sounds like a lot of gold in that bag. What do you plan on doing now? Do you have any way that you could figure out who this person is, this woman?
So I had an idea. I mean, I'm not intimately familiar with the magics, but I hesitate to even bring this up, but I understand there is a way to possibly speak to the recently deceased. Would that be worth trying to see if Sarkum has any more information?
Yeah. It's not desecration. It's got purpose. Yes. I can cast a spell. I can cast it right now. No time like the present. So she goes over to the bag, pulls the head out, and you see a tear or two coming down her cheeks, and she sets the head up, and she looks and opens the mouth a little bit.
Oh.
His tongue is gone. It should be okay. Sometimes it may fail, but I can just try to cast it again, but we'll see what happens. It's very specific, this spell. It's not, you only can do yes and no answers. So what would you like to ask?
That is a great question.
What is your name?
What is your favorite color?
I guess we want to know if the woman was someone he recognized. So that could help us narrow it down.
Okay, just remember the answers are basically yes and no.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So if he says no,
sure. I'm let me double check that, because that used to be how that is how it used to be.
So
have you looked at it?
I'm not sure he was alive when that happened. I think Tongue Eater gave the document to the warrior. I don't even know if Sarkum was alive at that point.
The way Shinsen described it, the redheaded woman, who also, she did mention had the tattoo on her face, was part of the fight. It's because of her that Sarkum wasn't able to. It took Tongue Eater and several of the thugs and alley bashers and this woman to actually defeat Sarkum. Sarkum apparently was pretty strong dude.
Yeah. This says you can ask up to 5 questions, only knows what it knew in life, including the languages it knew. The answers are usually brief, cryptic, or repetitive, and the corpse is under no compulsion to offer a truthful answer if
Okay.
you're hostile or recognizes you as an enemy.
Okay. So a little bit more than yes and no answers, but it will be brief. So we can ask him 5 things. You may want to have it prepared what you would like to ask before I cast.
Okay, so the name of the warrior, if he knows it.
Mm-hmm.
Who would want to steal the plans? He may know.
Did maybe
I guess
maybe the
some of the answer. Go ahead.
I was just thinking if he retrieved it and made it back to the Lucky Monkey, were they laying in wait, or did they follow him?
Okay.
Maybe that's a.
And she, Jinya, mentions that maybe some of the questions will be dependent on the answers that you get. So,
Mhm.
what do you want to start with? The spell lasts 10 minutes, so it's not like we're in once it's cast, you've got like rapid fire the questions. So, let me know the first question, and then as we go, you tell me what you would like to ask next, and we'll see what we can get done.
I guess.
I think we should ask him who the red-haired woman with the tattoo is. If he
Okay.
knows the answer to that, then that's all we need.
So she casts a spell, and they actually wrote this into the adventure because his tongue is missing. There's a 50% chance that it will work. However, it doesn't count as like the once a week casting that you normally have for the spell.
Mhm.
So she casts the spell. Shanoo. Let me find my button to talk. There we go.
Is that the magic incantation to make it work?
Shanoo. Yes. Shanoo.
That's canon.
So yeah, for now on, evermore in Greyhawk, it is the verbal incantation for speak with dead is Shanoo. 46, which is a fail. She looks frustrated. Hang on.
We can
Okay.
wait if you need the time.
I would rather know sooner than later. And she goes and steps out of the room, comes back in. She's got a scroll. All right, here we go. Try again. Jeez, it's 51 and above. So that was a 50. Dang Ferric. She she starts cussing in a foreign language under her breath. Hang on, right back. Leaves, comes out. This is costing up. Doesn't matter. I need to know. She casts it, and the third time's a charm. What's your first question?
What was the name of the tattooed warrior? The red-headed woman, the tattooed warrior.
And the mouth moves. The eyes are still vacant, and all that Sarkum says is Triel.
So he knew her, or at least he knew her name.
Triel for those who are taking notes.
Do we recognize that name at all?
Give me. It would have to be just a basic intelligence check for memory. Like it's not like you're investigating, finding information out. So this is just. Give me a history. Give me a history roll. Simply based on that, it's a pretty tough roll though. 13. You can all three roll.
History?
Yeah, history. Knowledge
Is it
history.
someone on my-
It's an intelligence
Is
check.
it maybe somebody on Tarathiel's motorboard?
20.
Natural 20
22.
for a 22.
Natural 20. Of course, you rolled a natural 20. All right. So, Tarathiel, if it's going to be anybody that would know this, it's better that it's you because you spent an entire month just casing Cauldron. You spent a lot of
Yep.
time checking out the last laugh, going in every alley here, there, everywhere. So, with that name and the description, the tall, redhead, short hair, and the tattoo on her face, you don't know a lot, but you do know that she used to be a guard for Cauldron about 10 years ago. And that's really about it because you didn't ask specifics. It was just something you remember overhearing. Maybe in the tip tanker, they were talking about people that once were here and now gone. But you know that she used to be a guard for Cauldron.
Triel, I think I know who that is.
Well,
Well, sort of.
Just surprised. I've been here years, and you've been here for 3 months.
I have a hobby of collecting faces and names. Do we have another question?
You have 4 more questions.
Maybe we should
No,
ask
I
where
would-
we can
I was-
find her.
Do you want
Let's make
to
a shot.
ask where to find her? To find Triel?
Yeah.
She looks at the head. Where can we find Triel? I don't know.
Dang it.
Mm.
It's like a really bad game of Wordle.
How
I
how
don't even know what
about
that is.
why would they steal the plans for the water wands?
Money.
So this is an extortion gig.
Yes.
Oop.
No, I'm joking. She's the one that asked the
That was
question,
my-
not you.
That was my
Wait, no,
question.
How many wishes do I have left?
Yeah. Can we have another question? Let's see.
That's
I think we have-
3, right?
We have two
Two-
more. Yep.
2 more.
what were the other two that we had come up with? 3, right? What were the 3? What's her name? I don't.
Do you know where she is? Was the second
Okay.
question, and do you know why it was stolen?
And then we shoot, I forgot what we. Oh yeah, Fairs, I wanted to ask if they were laying in wait or they followed them. If they had laid a trap
Right.
at the inn or they were followed to the inn. I don't know that that matters, honestly.
Kinda.
Yeah,
And Ginia looks over. You want me to ask?
yeah, that would indicate that they were followed from Cesarine or people in Cauldron.
It's premeditated.
Yeah, people in Cauldron were waiting for them to come back, so we know where the threat is. Maybe. So yeah,
They attacked us at the inn.
Who is Triel working for?
Trying to think if he would know that. I don't know.
That's 5.
Well, it's a little helpful. You have a name.
Yeah, she. I think if it's the same trail, she used to be a guard for Cauldron. Hasn't been for about a decade. I don't know why.
Ginia stands up.
Maybe.
She walks over, grabs the Star of Justice off the desk. So every week or so, we can cast divination with this Star of Justice. And we can directly ask St. Cuthbert a single question. Would you like to try that? It's basically like the divination spell.
I assume he's a bit more helpful than Sarkin.
He probably knows a little bit more.
But you still probably shouldn't speak ill of the dead. Fair zone.
Too soon.
So-
Too soon.
So would the last question be useful? Like, who does Triel work for? I mean, assuming she's not doing this on her own just to extort money. We don't know that. Maybe she
We
is
could
doing
just
it.
ask where she
extort-
is.
Okay, let me take a step back. Now that you've kind of talked it out a little bit, Sarkum doesn't answer. I don't know. Sarkum answers the Ebon Triad.
Makes
That's-
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, he would know that. So the Ebon Triad.
All right. So, okay, Ebon Triad. Although
We could just ask
somewhat
where
obvious.
Triel is.
Yeah. And it says the GM offers a thoughtful reply.
Believe it or not, I have prepared for this.
Excellent.
Filled with thought.
So is that useful? I mean, at this point, is asking let's say we find out where she is.
Mhm.
Is it to the Batcave to find her, or I mean, if she's handed it off to the Ebon Triad, is the Ebon Triad the cult or just the three gods together?
The Ebon Triad is the cult that
The
is
cult,
trying
okay.
to bring the three gods to one.
Got it. Okay.
I think if we know where, well, okay, so
Okay.
Farazan will say,
Okay.
if we know where she is, then at least we can get some more answers from her, alive or dead.
Okay.
Unless the
you-
answer is throat cut, bottom of Crater Lake.
Well, the answer is speak with dead.
In that case, yes.
Okay.
So you want me to ask where Triel is? Is that right?
I think so. Unless you can think of a better question, Kenya.
Yeah.
And you are extremely wise person.
It's the spell is rather effective. You ask a question, you will get an answer. It's kind of cryptic. It's not usually a direct answer, but it's always accurate if you can get through the mystery of the words. It's usually like a poem or, a riddle or something like that.
A
Okay.
haiku.
But if you can figure it out,
But-
it's usually not tough. It's just, I don't know why he doesn't like to give straight answers. It's just his style, I suppose.
But he could find someone if you asked.
If you ask where she is, his answer will get you to her.
All right. Sounds good.
So she takes the mace. It's just one action. Okay. She takes the mace, holds it above St. Cuthbert. Where can we find Triel? And you hear this heavenly voice, nice and deep and resonating wonderfulness.
Hmm.
And I'm going to say this slowly because I'm sure you're going to want to write it down. Art can be found where you least expect it. The crafter who crafts the craft shall have the tip you need.
Art can be found where you least expect it. The crafter who crafts the craft shall have the tip you need.
Yes. And she lowers the mace. Well, that was pretty esoteric. Do y'all have any idea?
Let me just check Tarathiel's intelligence score.
Thanks, God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should have asked for the lotto numbers.
It's like a
Right.
real genius.
Yeah.
Chet, wake up, Chet.
It's like, what?
Is there someone in the city that makes boats?
Boats, skiffs for the lake. Yeah, there's.
Someone
I'm
who
sure-
crafts the craft?
I'm
Oh,
sure there
okay.
is,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
We could go to Orc's boathouse.
Shut up.
Thinking of the dead again.
Crafts the craft. Yeah. So yeah, a boat, ship, a shipwright, anything like that.
Maybe.
What else could be a craft? Crafts the craft.
Where would you
Other
least
than-
expect to find art?
Farazan
Well,
looks
I mean, if
over.
it is a shipwright and you go down there and they're intricately carved, that would make a lot of sense. Or maybe paintings on the sails.
Is that where I least expect it? It's hard to answer that question because if I think it might be there, then I expect it.
Well, yeah, once you think it, you're going to expect it. Come on.
Does let's see here. I'm looking at the map. So 22 is Minutia's board. What is Minutia's board?
Minutia's board is like a flop house, a cheap,
Okay.
like very, very dirt cheap place to stay.
23 is Surefoot livery. I don't know that boats would be livery.
No, that's where these horses that you were riding that you now own. By the way, you can keep the horses, says Ginia. But that's a livery. That's where she got the horses.
I mean, the boat thing could be a red herring too. Like that was
I
just
think
my
it's a-
first thought when I heard when I
think it's
heard
a great
craft
place to
crafts
start.
craft. That was the
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe we should go down to Ash Avenue and see if there's any
Ooh, I like Coward's suggestion that the answer is in the goblin graffiti, but I'm pretty sure that's already washed away. The consistent
Had
rain.
you only known before you went down there to look
That would've
for
been
the
great.
signs in the goblin graffiti. That's great.
I mean,
Coward, you get
Ned
inspiration.
really did smell.
Ginia is look. It's obvious that Ginia's trying to think of something also, but she does stop and she says, "You know, it's usually like the individual words that help. You know, it's I don't know. He's tricky. Think of just I don't know what that would help, but think of the individual words." I don't know. Why don't you take a week and think about it, and we'll pick this up next week.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah, that was Kevin.
Give you guys a week to ponder it, and we'll pick up next Monday night. Or as we expect, the craft next week. Yes, that's right, Coward. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. We will be back next Monday, and little bit of behind the scene. I am finishing up this particular quarter of school, and I'm going to take the time that I'm off to get this converted over to a podcast finally. So expect that before the end of February.
Huzzah.
Of course, if you're here, you've probably already heard it all, but it's going to be there. Going to get it done. So thanks for sticking around. Enjoyed having your company.
One other thing, I just dropped a link to the Discord in the chat. A couple of us are going to be potentially playing some games on Tabletop Simulator tomorrow night, starting about the same time as the stream normally starts. We're going to play some Marvel United. Drop in, come hang out. You can just join the voice channel. We'll share our screen, and yeah, we'll see you then.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one.